came from my interest in medieval history growing up, especially because my interest in medieval history in many ways started with military history. These weapons, swords, etc. Like, how are they being made? And I don't know, I consider myself something of an artist, and so like I got to a point where I started looking at videos of people doing it, and I was like, that looks really cool. And then I found that there was in my town, there was a public blacksmith shop where you could like take classes and stuff like that. And so it was like in February, I just showed up and did blacksmithing for a day and learned some of the basics, and like that was sort of that for me. I'm definitely, without a doubt, drawn to the actual forging process itself. There's folks out there that do stock removal knives where they just take a blank, CNC it out, and then just grind it. That's not interesting to me. I really like the forging process. The fact that you can move the metal in ways that you simply can't do just by cutting something out. Back in the day, you had to do that. There was no other option for getting metal to a certain shape. So I think that part I enjoy a lot. It's also a part I'm trying to get a lot better at. There's for me, a really interesting interplay between phrases and words like power that come to mind, because there's a lot of power in it. There's a lot of man shaping the elements, but also like material, man shaping material. But what I think is really interesting is that by itself, it would be wildly unsuccessful. And so it's like interplay between like power and delicacy, and trying to like only use exactly enough power and artistry that is necessary to get the artistry you're looking for. It's probably the best way to put it. In moments you need raw strength and you're moving material like en masse, and then moments where if you were to only do that, if you were only to use that card in your deck, you would end up with something that like doesn't even resemble a knife. It would just be a crude bent piece of steel. It's like pushing real hard and then going extremely delicate, and learning when to do each is, I think, like really interesting to me. Day 2, we went from flat bar to, we just did the blade itself, and we got it mostly to shape, and ultimately we're going to knock off this top here, and we're going to do a drop point hunter, something along these lines, and we're just going to stock remove the tang, because that's easier. So we're going to be doing that on the grinder here. 2x72 belt grinder. Got lots of different belts, a bunch of different attachments, and we're going to spend the day making a lot of sparks. I think the finishing work of taking something that it's forged, roughed out, the general shape, and then taking it from something that like looks knife shaped to something that is like both a knife in function and really pretty. I love the thinking about like the wood combinations and color schemes and doing all of that fine detail. To me is actually my favorite part. I would say it's like the finishing process. I like the hand sanding because I can do it. I'll spend like days doing it to get it just perfect. And I think it's because I kind of just lose, to be dramatic, like sense of time and space, just sanding and letting everything just like focus on very, very specific details of what I'm working on. The very, very first place I ever forged was my like family's cottage and property, like my grandparents' property up in Vermont. And I had gotten a forge, and I was using my uncle's like pitted, half destroyed anvil, and I was using an old file to figure it out how to do it, but I was doing it standing, like looking out over like one of my favorite views ever of sweeping Vermont countryside and like the Shire. That captured me. Was not the idea of necessarily being inside a workshop that never sees the light of day, that's in a industrial park somewhere, but doing it in a place where I could like really be removed away and see a beautiful place, see the water, see the sky, see all of that. Out of all the different places I have had my shop, this one is the closest to where I had that first experience of like doing it on my own, and that's definitely my favorite here.